I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
All actors are kinda crazy. Yeah, they can be a handful. This includes that actor named Mark Hamill. He would imitate cartoon voices when he was a kid. They said that talent wouldn't take him anywhere, but it did. He studied drama in college school and worked with Bill Cosby back when we thought he was cool. Hamill was also in The Partridge Family, and a cartoon based off of I Dream of Jeannie. And before he played a samurai wizard in space, he helped campaign for George McGovern's presidential race. He was great friends with Carrie, and in the film Wizards he played a fairy. He was cast in the pilot for the sitcom 8 is Enough. While waiting for the show to get picked up, he went and did a film with some sci-fi stuff. While auditioning, he found the dialogue rather odd, but read it sincerely. Now he is forever the character we hold so dearly. On set, he would goof around with Harrison. Unless Alec Guinness was near, he voiced an Adventure Time character who feasts on fear.
No, wait, no!
Mark Hamill would bug Alec Guinness with questions about his craft and how he gets in the zone. He asked so many questions that Alec Guinness paid Mark Hamill to leave him alone. While filming the trash compactor scene, Mark popped a blood vessel from holding his breath. Mark Hamill will give it his all until there's nothing left. He lends his voice to the Joker from time to time, and did Star Wars because it reminded him of The Wizard of Oz from 1939. Nobody had hope in the movie A New Hope. Mark and Carrie actually swung on that cool rope. Star Wars came out and it was the biggest thing in the galaxy. Mark Hamill is a huge star now, you see. And these things, well, they always come in twos. His sitcom 8 is Enough got picked up, and that should have been great news. But Star Wars needed Mark for all the sequels, and they had to jump on that. But the TV studio wouldn't let Hamill out of his 5-year contract. But Mark got into a horrible car accident and needed surgery on his face. He was stuck in the hospital, so the show let him go, and he could return to space. There are so many urban legends about Mark Hamill's face injuries, so the story goes. Rumors range from a whole new face to just a broken nose. Star Wars was the birth of modern movie effects for today. And after Star Wars, Mark filmed a birth effect PSA.
Take care of yourself. It's up to you.
Mark's first film after Star Wars was entitled Corvette Summer. It was a flop. Bummer. It was time for Luke to return to a mighty space vessel for Star Wars, the holiday TV special. Next, Hamill was in a war drama called The Big Red One. It's filled with World War II action. Years later, he did a voice on Call of Duty 2, The Big Red One. Now, isn't that crazy fact fun? Audiences around the world would watch Luke go down the Jedi path. Frank Oz brought Miss Piggy to set to make Mark laugh. Mark Hamill had to bang his head on Yoda's hut 16 times for goodness sake, and on set he was bitten by a snake. He filmed some Planet Hoth scenes in a real snowstorm, and then Hamill's first child was born. His wife had the baby, she sure did birth it. Mark went straight from the hospital to Hoth and filmed all of his scenes perfect. Oh wait, it wasn't perfect, I am so dumb. During this scene, Mark broke his thumb. I know you think that is impossible, but later that day he went right back to the hospital. To get his body in Jedi form, Mark Hamill trained for months, and he did all of his own stunts. Well, all but one, but let's not get picky. It was too dangerous to suck Mark Hamill through a window at Cloud City. Mark Hamill has had a kinda crazy career, but he should carry no regrets. He couldn't tell anyone the I Am Your Father twist for 2 years, and he hates keeping secrets. After that, it was time for this Jedi to return to the Force. Mark Hamill did almost all of his own stunts in Return of the Jedi, of course. He doesn't like watching himself in Star Wars, and I don't blame him. The studio brought in a real-life swordmaster to train him. For both original Star Wars sequels, he won the Best Actor Saturn Award, and does a great impression of Harrison Ford.
No, actually, he once said to me, "Hey, I don't sound anything like that."
Mark Hamill is a crazy voice actor type guy. He was in the English dub of Castle in the Sky. For the film Slipstream, Mark Hamill dyed his hair, and it was never released in the US. It's not fair. When Mark Hamill is in your film, the crazy does not stop. He based his Slipstream character on a real-life cop. Hamill was in a film based on the anime The Guyver, but this was a live-action feature. In this film, Mark Hamill turns into a giant bug creature. Remember that kiss? That's his sister. And on the 90s The Flash, he played the Trickster. This character has kept Mark working. He played the Trickster again in Justice League and The Flash 2014. Mark Hamill does a lot of sci-fi films. You want to know another? It's a movie entitled Time Runner. When it comes to voice acting, Mark Hamill has raised all the bars. He even played a bad guy on Biker Mice from Mars.
End of the power line, Biker Mice. Time to show you my attractive personality.
Mark voiced Hans Christian Andersen on The Little Mermaid, and his voice is probably featured in some video games you have played. He was the Joker in Batman the Animated Series, but I'm sure you knew this, and he based the Joker's voice on Jerry Lewis. Mark thought he would be typecast as the hero, so he didn't think he would get the villain part. When recording his lines, he stands up and performs with all of his heart. When doing the Joker voice, he would imagine he was on 1930s radio. Mark Hamill played the Skeleton King on Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. Hamill would practice his Joker laugh while driving down LA freeways. He has played the Joker in 8 different series and still plays him these days. Mark Hamill's Joker voice makes all the nerds fangasm. He was in Mask of the Phantasm. He voiced the Admiral and Commander Toad in Space. Voice acting is great if you don't want him to see your face. On the cartoon Red Planet, he voiced the Dad. Nostalgia prevents me from telling if this is really good or really bad. On SWAT Cats, Mark was Burke and Johnny K. Once he piggybacked onto Ray. On Garfield and Friends, he played a superhero who controlled cottage cheese. And Mark Hamill has worn the same blue sweater for decades. Jeez. He played a reverend in Village of the Damned by John Carpenter, and he was in a few video games for Wing Commander. Hamill was in Phantom 2040 and Sequest 2032. He was in The Tick and Zombie Island Scooby-Doo. Everyone says Mark Hamill is crazy friendly, and he was in Ren and Stimpy.
What do you want?
He was a Scrooge on Casper, and on Hey Arnold he was homeless. On the Bruce Willis is a Child Spy show, he played a guy named Harris. Mark goes to many conventions and Star Wars shindigs. He played an alien in Space Cases, which is Star Trek for kids. He was the voice of Maximus on Fantastic Four. He came back for the Superman series and played the Joker some more. He acted in a science fiction film called Laser Hawk, and was Gargoyle in The Incredible Hulk. Mark Hamill accidentally punched Peter Stormare in Commander Hamilton. In Spider-Man, he played the Hobgoblin. He was a weenie dog on Cow and Chicken, and appeared as himself on The Simpsons. That's bitchin'. His Joker came back in the new Batman Adventures, Yippee! And he was on a sketch for Mad TV. On Powderpuff Girls, he played a cat. In Return of the Joker, he went beyond the bat. Mark Hamill was also in Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and voiced himself on Pepper Ann. In a cartoon short, he played a ferret, never got picked up, and he co-starred with a parrot. He played Buzz Buzzard on Woody Woodpecker, and in Jay and Silent Bob, he was the cock knocker. In Crash Bandicoot, his character dealt with fire. In the Boondocks, his character can get you higher.
Ooh, lay it on me, man. They call it Skywalker.
Mark Hamill voiced a big bad wolf in Balto 2, and was under the mask once in Scooby-Doo. Mark Hamill talks the talk and walks the walk. Again, he was the Joker in Birds of Prey and Static Shock. Every now and then I enjoy a Star Wars movie binge. Mark Hamill was Logan in Wolverine's Revenge. Watch out or he will take out his laser sword and give you a poke. Hamill voiced Luke and Obi-Wan on a Family Guy cutaway joke.
Luke, use the Force.
Really? Because I was just gonna make
Use the Force.
Okay.
In Justice League, not only was he the Joker, but also Solomon Grundy. Mark Hamill directed a mockumentary called Comic Book the Movie. It was funny. On Johnny Bravo, he played a Hollywood producer and himself, cause he's the best, and voiced Lego Joker in a short film with Adam West. He was Ricochet Rabbit on Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. He was in the game Yakuza, and that's not all. He played a turtle on Danger Rangers and a turtle on Tigger and Pooh. Mark is Lego Trickster and Lego Sinister in Attack of the Legion of Doom. In Justice League Unlimited, he was the Trickster again because if he wasn't, that would be weird. On Codename Kids Next Door, he was the voice of the pirate Sticky Beard. Hamill returned to Batman animation, but not as the Joker, capiche? He voiced a ship captain in Lunatics Unleashed. Mark Hamill always does a really great job. Was the voice of the Moth on SpongeBob. He played a bad guy in The Legend of Spyro, Dawn of Dragon. In Batman Arkham Asylum, his Joker keeps us laughing. He also portrayed Scarface, the gangster dummy. And did I mention that Star Wars always makes a lot of money? Mark Hamill is the narrator for Happy Tree Friends. He gets the stories told. He is also the Spectre in Batman the Brave and the Bold.
Fulfill your destiny.
Mark is Alvin in Dragons Riders of Berk. As a voice actor, Hamill always finds work. He is the Trickster and the Joker. Mark Hamill is full of riddles, and he plays a Yeti with nipples. When it comes to the Force, Mark is fully in control, and on Superhero Squad, he voiced Red Skull. Just like Luke, Mark always gets what he's after. For the video game Star Citizen, he did motion capture. Lots of great cartoon voices have come off his lips, like the Senator in that show Metalocalypse. In Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, he was the voice of Claw. In the movie Sushi Girl, he tortured a guy with chopsticks. It was raw. Mark Hamill loves his fans, he is never mean, and was the Joker again on that show from Seth Green. It was time to return to Star Wars. Mark had to make that career choice. But he wasn't coming back as Luke yet. It was Darth Bane's voice.
Do you know who I am?
Yes, Darth Bane. The ancient Sith Lord, you are.
In the comic book Kingsman, Mark Hamill is the first celebrity Dr. Arnold did kidnap. And in the movie, Mark Hamill plays Dr. Arnold. Yep, they did that. Decades later, he returned for just the last scene of that Star Wars sequel, and is on Avatar, but not the one with the blue people. In The Force Awakens, he was the same age as Alec Guinness. They were both 63. In Samurai Jack, Mark Hamill plays a sea monkey. Oh Mark, no one can compare to thee. He went undercover as a stormtrooper for charity. He actually likes to surprise his fans a lot, even actor Adam Scott. He warns young actors about show business and says don't try it. To become Luke again, Disney made him diet. Transforming back into Luke took an emotional toll. He was excited yet terrified to return to the role. He is still great as Luke even though he is older, and Mark Hamill looks exactly like the Winter Soldier. Mark is very disappointed in his Episode 7 screen time. Sometimes during interviews he brings his pet canine. Luke Skywalker is very, very brave. Mark Hamill hates having a beard, but for the film he did not shave. He fights about net neutrality on Twitter with Senator Ted Cruz, LOL, ha ha ha. On LEGO Marvel Avengers and Ultimate Spider-Man, he played Arnim Zola. For acting motivation, he created his own backstory for Luke in a galaxy far, far. He was the Joker again in The Killing Joke, which was rated R. Hamill said that he would retire his Joker after this, but he didn't. He loved the Brigsby Bear script, so he did it. Mark Hamill voiced an evil dragon on Ninja Turtles. Can it get any better? Once the Joker and Trickster kidnapped Mark Hamill with Swamp Thing, so meta. Oh yeah, he's Swamp Thing too, didn't you know? He also loves going on The Muppet Show. His Joker voice was inspired by Anthony Hopkins' performance as Hannibal Lecter, and he fundamentally disagrees with every Luke decision made by Rian Johnson, the director. So many cartoons, superheroes, and sci-fi, I think I'm gonna hurl. Mark Hamill is also the co-writer of The Simpsons comics and The Black Pearl. After making the 600-foot climb in Ireland, he wanted to set up a tent and sleep on the island. Hamill was planning on living on the island to get into character. He does the method right. But he could not camp out on the island because it is a protected site. Mark Hamill is kinda crazy, and I don't care if you take issue. So Merry Christmas and may the Force be with you.